All right, let's review what we did on Friday in our coin toss experiment. So the first thing I want to talk about is relative frequency. So relative frequency is what we get when we do an experiment. And the numerator is the number of times the event occurs over the total number of times you conduct the experiment. So I had you work on this page in your journals. And right here, I think you just recorded how many heads and how many tails you had flipped out of the 20 times. I'm going to show you what your relative frequency should have looked like. When I did this experiment, I got 6 heads out of 20 total flips, and I got 14 tails out of 20 total flips. These two things are my relative frequencies, and they look like probability, which they are. They are called experimental probability, experimental. Now, what we do with that data is we compare it, and then we will also combine it with the results of everybody else in the class, and that's what we were doing with our sheet. And I have the results of all of our tosses for the day, and I'm going to show you the outcome. All right, let's review the cumulative results of the coin toss experiment. So what this means is that after each person tossed their coins and recorded their data, I added your coin tosses to whoever had come before you. So this first bar shows my results of 30% heads, 70% tails. And then the next bar shows the results of mine combined with Tyler's. Tyler had 65% heads and 35% tails. And when we added his to mine, we ended up with 47.5% heads and 52.5% tails. And there were 55 of us that did this experiment, so there should be 55 bars, and we had a total of 1,000 coin tosses. Now, we know 50% is our theoretical probability of tossing a head or a tail, because we know theoretically the probability of a head would be 1 out of 2, and the probability of a tail would be 1 out of 2. This is called theoretical probability, or also called simple probability, which is what we were doing most of last week. What we are working on now is called experimental. Now, when I've done this in the past, my results have not been as close as this. If we follow the 50% line throughout all of the experiment, we were pretty close to 50%. And when I looked at some of your data, a lot of you had 10 and 10 of each. And I wonder if you were tossing the coin properly, or if you were using a random generator. If you're using a random generator, a coin toss on your phone, that's actually based upon experimental and theoretical probability, so you would actually end up being closer to the theoretical probability rather than experimental. So let's look at data that we did in the classroom a couple of years ago. All right, this is coin toss experimental data that we did in a STEM class a few years ago. And when we do it in class, I usually have you put a coin in a cup, and I have you shake the cup, and when I say stop, you roll the coin onto the desk and you record your data. I think that is probably more accurate than maybe what was going on at home. So if you notice this data, it's pretty far apart. pretty far from the 50% line, and it kind of stays that way. And in this particular case, we never got 50-50. And that's because we didn't have as many coin tosses in this STEM class, which was about 20, 25 kids, that we would have had if we had combined all of our classes together. So the result would be, if we had kept going and flipped our coins, I don't know, 10,000 times, our results would have eventually led to be very, very close to 50-50, which is pretty much what we did as a group with the 1,000. But if we had continued it, we would have been able to fine tune it and get that experimental probability very close to our theoretical. So we're going to practice some more experimental probability this week and look at our results.